I thought do that on a larger scale.
That's exactly the same, actually. I hated sport, still do.
You're copying out the same answers.
No.
It's just been so
I was never any good at it, and from that big, I loved music, you know. So it was kind of a natural thing to do was try and do it, really.
So no individual inspired you to pick up the instrument?
Oh, there was a myriad of artists, really. You know, I mean, the obvious ones and the ones that are probably a little more obscure. But unless you've got maybe 3 or 4 hours to just sit here reeling off musicians, then
Go on.
I'd love to. But I've got to start warming up soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roger Taylor was my hero. Yeah, big time.
Roger Taylor.
I started off playing drums, you see.
Oh, alright.
Yeah. He was my absolute hero.
So, what inspired you to pick up the guitar then? If anybody.
To be honest, it was kind of I was a drummer in bands, and then turns out the bass player in whatever band he couldn't play. So, can you play bass? Because there's another drummer yet. And then I was bass player for ages, and then the guitarist in whichever band I was in couldn't play. So I was going to try playing guitar, and then just ended up, and then ended up playing guitar, really.
Oh, fair enough.
Drum's my first instrument and my first love, really.
Oh. And for my last question, what has been your worst nightmare? Your worst nightmare? I can't speak tonight, Len.
What's been our worst nightmare?
Yeah. Have you had one, or has it happened on stage?
Do you mean an actual nightmare, or
either way?
What, in my worst nightmare?
Yeah.
It's often being chased by Nazis.
Nasties.
In the dark around alleyways and that.
Yeah.
I usually wake up just as they catch me.
There you go.
Ooh. Any others?
I can't recount an actual nightmare, to be honest.
Okay, have you had a real life nightmare situation?
Yeah, quite a few.
Okay, okay.
Over the years.
You always have a nightmare, don't you?
Yeah, but I can't really remember what
It's one of those things that you can forget, don't you? You wake up and it's like, and then it sort of goes. And it's really hard to remember.
Vivid dreamer, and I go through sort of stage of like a couple of weeks of having really horrible dreams. But I wouldn't really call them night. You see, to me, a nightmare is a monster coming out from under your bed and grabbing you. But I suppose some people would deem some of the dreams that I've had nightmares. In fact, some of them will be a psychologist's wet dream, to be honest, because there's all sorts of stuff going on in there.
Right.
But as for recounting tales, unless you know the people involved, it's going to lose a bit in the translation, to be honest.
Okay.
Do you know June from Lichfield?
No. I know a lot of people, but not June from Lichfield.
Well, we'll leave it at that then. But I can't really recount any particular ones. No.
Okay.
Sorry.
Any of you guys? One down.
I used to have quite a few shark nightmares and spider nightmares, but
That's spiders.
But I've got over my spider phobia.
Oh, I haven't.
I went to the jungle for 3.5 weeks this year, and I don't know, just not bothered about insects anymore. It's weird. Face your fears.
Last year.
Sorry?
Last year.
Last year, yeah.
You said
Christ, yeah. There hasn't been 3 months of this year. 3 weeks of this year.
No.
Have you had one?
Nightmares? I occasionally have them. I'm quite a happy chappy, generally. I used to have a recurring nightmare when I was a child about... My mum had this polystyrene head thing that to keep wigs and hats on and stuff. And she made it up with makeup, made it look really scary, and I used to have nightmares about being chased by this polystyrene lady.
Polystyrene.
Yeah. But then I turned 18 and I was okay, so...
I know someone in another band, I won't mention which band it is, who had a reoccurring nightmare of walking through decomposing dead piglets. But then again, he does take quite a lot of hard drugs.
Okay.
Be something to do with it.
I used to have this recurring nightmare as a kid. I used to get it nearly every other night at one point. It's like a horrible thing. It's like a maze. Imagine the most detailed maze, and you zoom in on it, and you're following this thing around the maze, and I'm watching it, and it's and it fills up, and it goes on for hours and hours and hours and hours, and then just as it runs out of room, you wake up, and you're just I used to get that a lot when I was a kid. I like to think that it was basically the different nerve endings growing in your brain. Maybe it signifies kind of the electrical pulses that actually pass through your brain as as you are growing, and as your brain does grow when you're a child at quite an enormous rate. I'd like to say that was probably what that was.
Signifies.
Signifying.
You never know, do you?
But if anyone
Dreams are
knows.
very weird things.
Dreams reveal the psyche.
Dreams reveal the psyche.
Hey.
Nice link.
Is there any links? Speaking of which, is there any links or MySpaces
new
that
one.
the people at home can check out?
Is there any what? Sorry?
Links, websites.
www.myspace.com/the Stone Gods, www.stonegods.co.uk. That's hour 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a fan site which is actually quite good, which is on stonegods.org, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which you should maybe have a look at as well,
Check it out.
because they're they work really hard on it, and they're good people. So
Great stuff.
check it out.
Thanks, guys, for taking the time out to do the interview. And just before we go, let's do a name call.
Okay.
Okay.
Name call.
Right.
Wanker.
No, not that.
You vaudeville punts.
Go on.
Arsehole.
Richie Edwards, come back. I'm not finished. Richie Edwards, rhythm guitar and vocals.
Dan Hawkins, lead guitar now, isn't he? Yeah.
And I'm back.
Backing vocals. Sorry, yeah.
Toby McFarlane, bass, backing vocals.
My name's Ed and I play the drums.
Great stuff. Well, thanks again, guys, and all the best in the future in
Thanks very much.
2008.
Cheers.
Angel of Metal, the Stone Gods, keep it loud.